Welcome back to Native Legends. On today's episode, we're going to meet up with one of the oldest clan members in our group. We call him Grand Pa Otter. His actual name is Archie Hass. But throughout time, the man has seen many things and done many things. He's going to bring you a story today of what he had to endure in his life back 50 or 60 years ago, and the way things were and the way he believes them to be. Sit back and enjoy the video. And don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon down there so that you can be informed when we bring more videos out. Thank you.
Heritage. I grew up in northeast Texas, late 40s, early 50s. And this is where I grew up. And I didn't know I was poor folks. I didn't know I was a country boy. And the part of the country that I grew up in, it was racially divided. There was a railroad track that ran north and south through Dangerfield, Texas, and at 9 o'clock in the evening, if you was black, you'd better be on the east side of those railroad tracks, and if you was white, you better be on the west side, the west side, and never the twain shall meet. But I never understood that. I was always into relationship with somebody. I didn't care what color they was. But I still saw it. And I would ask my father's mother, my paternal grandmother. My daddy's side of the family was all dark complected and black haired. Really dark complected and black haired. And my mother's side, she was blue eyed, blonde. But I'd ask my grandparents, who are we? Well, my daddy's mother, Mommy Veda, she said, we're Black Dutch. And I went to the library and I tried to find out who these Black Dutch people was. And I couldn't find them anywhere on this planet. Black Dutch. Well, with a last name like Hass, that worked pretty good. But I still couldn't find out who the Black Dutch were. And I don't know, moving away from northeast Texas, where I grew up running the woods, I had a few young friends when I was a kid, but we didn't live close to one another. We was all half a mile from one another because we all lived on farms. But Melvin Beard, young black man, young black boy, was my friend. Dial Amos, tall, blonde, we called him Soapy. He was my buddy. We just didn't care about division. We were friends. But I was still concerned over who are we. Stayed that way for a long, long time, and it was years later, after I'd spent a lot of time in the military and met a good woman, they were all singing, we wish they all could be California. I went out and found me one in between tours in Vietnam. And it was one morning in church. A visiting evangelist made a statement. The man that does not know who he is will never know what he is. And I didn't hear another word he said because I was sitting there thinking, I don't know anything about my family. And so that very weekend, we left Houston, drove up to Northeast Texas to talk to some of the older surviving members of the family, of which I am now the oldest. And in talking with my aunt, and my uncle, and my cousins, and in-laws, and outlaws, and everybody, one of my cousins found the old Campbell family Bible. And we found a bunch of hand pencil records in it. And looking through all that, it led us back to two men. On the 1835 census of Cherokee, east of the Mississippi, a Reverend John Hass and Chief Arch Campbell. And it was like that opened the floodgates, because I started finding out more and more and more and more about my family, which was both exhilarating and frustrating. And as it turns out, I'm darn near a full-blood Cherokee, Catawba, Choctaw. I just looked like a green-eyed white man. Go figure. I'm an all-American dog-pound dwelling mutt. But this explained to me why I never fit in with the crowd in school. I wasn't interested in what they were interested in. Given a choice, I'd be out in the woods like this, running with the wild critters. When my dad was stationed at Biggs Air Force Base in El Paso, Texas, I was out in the desert. I felt more comfortable out there. I was closer to my Creator, and I could see my Creator's hand in the leaves and the trees and the wild animals. And it made a very, very great change in my life, because I finally learned to be myself, be who I was created to be. And remarkable things started happening. For instance, I heard, I can't remember the man's name, Robert Mirabal, I guess, playing the siotanka, the courting flute. Wow. I already played piano, guitar. I said, I want one of those. Different story. But it was like I was called to it, drawn to it. And as a child, whenever I had an opportunity, I'd go hang out with Indians. The Mescalero Apache up there in Cloudcroft, New Mexico. We had a few old people that lived around here in Northeast Texas that were definitely Indian. Not many people had anything to do with them, but I spent time with them. And now I know why. And I'm glad and I'm proud of it. And on that note, that's why we're going to start sharing history and heritage.